Hello, and welcome to the Thread to Men podcast. My name's Taylor, and I come to you from Baltimore, Maryland, and this is a podcast about anything that's really fiber related. I mostly touch on the subjects of knitting and spinning, but I also sometimes dabble in sewing or felting, all kinds of weird handcrafts that maybe is not weird at all. But I don't know many people in my regular day-to-day life that also do these things, so I created this channel to just kind of put myself out there, share the things that I'm making, and learn from other people online as well. So I hope that this channel is helpful to you all if you are trying something new or continuing your own knitting journey, spinning journey, or just looking for someone to hang out with while you do maybe your own types of handcrafts or other things. So thank you so much for being here. Please do subscribe to this channel though if you're interested in viewing more content. I know not many of you are all subscribed, so just do me a favor, subscribe to this channel just so that other people maybe find it as well, because it would really help me out. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up too so that more people see it on their suggested feeds. I I don't know where to start. You might have seen that I had posted some vlogs online since the start of our kind of COVID-19 world, and yeah, I don't regret it, but that'll give you some picture into where I'm at these days. And I think probably not unlike so many others, I'm just kind of cleaning a lot more than I ever had time for, because I was often having to do that at work. So now that I'm home, I'm like clean. I still need to wash my dog. I haven't washed my dog, but I made sure to wash my handbag, wash all the light fixtures and switches, and I wonder how many people have like so far cleaned their phone charger, because I haven't done that. But all the things. I'm feeling well. I have no reason to suspect that I have already contracted coronavirus, but I do think that I will likely be okay, even if I do or will. And I'm taking extra precautions to eat as anti-inflammatory of a diet as possible. I'm trying to take really good care of myself at this time so that I'm ready for whatever might come, both mentally and physically. I did keep going to my therapy appointments, but I think I'm going to cancel tomorrow just because I want to not leave the house. Right, so that is a little off topic, but that's where I'm at these days, and I hope that you're all well. I know things are upside down, but some of you might have more free time not having to leave the house. Some of you might have less because you're caring for children or your family right now, and wherever you are, I feel for you, and I hope that you're well. I'm gonna switch over to the subject of some fiber things to keep it light and show you what I've been up to. Like I said, I haven't really knit anything at all or spun. So I've just been doing a lot of other things. I do feel like what I was trying to get to a moment ago is that a lot of my time is eaten up with this kind of almost obsessive compulsive habit of kind of going upstairs and then downstairs and then upstairs and then downstairs. And I'm just like retracing my steps, trying to get everything done because there's just so much to do at once, it seems. And that hasn't led to much productivity. I'm not really allowing myself to settle down into a seat and just do something continuously as I am accustomed to. I'm kind of, I think, a little unanchored. So I hope to get to that. I've even set an intention of sewing masks, and yesterday morning I started a load of laundry of all the fabric that I have available to do that with, and it's now dry in my dryer, but I need to set some time aside to accomplish that goal. I have friends who are in the nursing field, and they're already expressing deep concern that they won't have the supplies that they need very, very soon. So I'm going to do everything I can to help them, whatever that looks like. But I've also been crocheting some hexagons, and I have enough hexagons now to finally assemble the new cover that will be my ottoman, which I'll just insert a little photo of for you to know the general shape of the ottoman. It's just a pillow that I found at the thrift store that I kind of put over this handcraft stool thing that I also found at the thrift store the same day. So I'm just crocheting this cover for it. It's going to be really kitschy, and I just really like hexagons and kind of bright colors, browns, and yeah. So this will be assembled soon. I hope maybe tonight or tomorrow, sometime this week. And I'll just go grab the next thing to show you. A very lovely person reached out to me and offered to gift me a pattern just to lift my spirits, and it was so sweet. I don't know if they want me to recognize them publicly, but I am very grateful for their generosity and their reaching out. And so soon I'll be casting on Andrew Mowry's Shift Cowl, and I did assemble my yarn for this project. I had it set aside, but I needed to kind of weigh everything out and create a plan. So these are going to be the colors that I'm using, and these are all hand spun yarns. And this one is a bunch of small skeins I just kind of tied together to skein up, and this will operate as a single skein. This is another, and then these three as another. I have a little bit of fiber on next. I have a little bit of fiber that I'm going to spin and 2-ply that I think I might finish before I cast this on, and I hope to do that today or tomorrow so that I can start this project very soon, because I don't know if I'll instead want to do 3 marled yarns instead of alternating these solid colors. I might save these for a different project, but that'll be happening in the future. All right, I have another exciting thing to show you. I know that this might not be the most, but I'm really looking forward to this, so wanted to show that to you all in case you want to shift along with me. I spent a fair amount of time natural dyeing the last few days, week or so, and I've dyed all of these yarns to show you. So I am posting these for sale online, but I bought this yarn in one big wholesale purchase just to play with natural dyes and to make things that I wanted to exist. So it was a way for me to kind of live out my creative outlet and share it with you all if you're interested, or potentially just hoard in my stash if necessary. So I pulled one skein of each color to show you. I have much more than this. The first skein that I naturally dyed was with avocado. This is one of 4 colors in this base, and these are all 2-ounce skeins, and I have 5 of every color. And you can see them here up close. These skeins are 80% wool and 20% organic cotton. You can see that they have sort of a tweed effect. They're all a DK weight. So this is going to be a really nice and squishy, soft spring, summer, probably crop top or tee or tank, I think. 5 skeins at 2 ounces. That's like what? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 ounces. So 10 ounces is equivalent to what? About 3 skeins? 3 skeins of 100 grams, roughly, a little more than that. But as I was saying, I first naturally dyed these 2 with avocado skins and a couple pits. So this one, if you can't tell, is a kind of millennial pink, a little heathered pink color, and I really like this one a lot. This one is so much more subtle than that one, but it's kind of more of a peachy color. And then these two were both dyed with, oh, see the color kind of, see that is the true color right there. This is you can see it's kind of like a medium. When I think of foundation, it would be like the warm tone, medium shade. But it is kind of like an orange color, a peach. And then this is like a soft pink in the middle here. These are just very springtime. I'm really excited about these. So basically, I don't know how I'm gonna start an operation like this when we're all not leaving our house. I think that I could easily print off a Etsy shipping label, slap that on, and just drop it in the mailbox. So that's basically my plan. I know other businesses are shipping online, so I don't think that just a few packages are really going to overburden our system, but I mean, yeah, it's a weird time to do things like this, but I have the time now, so I'm just taking advantage of that time while I have it. So these are up for sale. They're retailing at, I think, $16 a skein, I want to say. So yeah, I'm really excited about this and excited to share it with you. The other base that I have here is in just 4 colors. Is it 4 or 5? I dropped one. It's 5. Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, like I said, no symptoms, but I'll make sure that these are like 3 days in quarantine before I ship them out. The second base that I've dyed is a fingering weight yarn. These are all 100 grams each, and I have 3 skeins of all colors, but I actually have 4 skeins of this gorgeous pale seafoam color. This is, I would say, the most true expression of this color. It's not unlike this chair I'm sitting in, but a little softer. And this one I really like a lot. It would be a nice boxy sweater. And then there's these here. So you can see that these gray ones are super similar. The warm one was dyed with avocado and the light one was dyed with onion skins. And they are over dyes of natural gray blend with white. So this one I'm calling Cool Squirrel, and this one is Warm Squirrel, because you can tell that they're like a heathered blended fiber, but one is a little cooler and one is a little warmer. And you can see that the camera's definitely having a hard time picking up the color, but when I hold it back towards me, I would say that is very true. Super subtle difference in these two. And honestly, I would say that if I were to go on this dyeing adventure again, I would hold on to the dark grays for deep saturated dye baths. But because I knew that they were going to give me a stark contrast color to anything I over dyed that was originally white, I did do the first baths in the white color. So this is the first dye bath of onion skins, yellow onion skins mostly. And then, and this is very true right here, this color that you're seeing on camera. And then this is the second bath of those. And it's this gorgeous, it's kind of like a millennial pink. It's not really peach, it's not really mauve, but it's kind of this dusty peach pink color, which I really like. And I think I would totally wear a nude. I think that nude would look really cute. And I'm not really a pastel person, but I think that this has made me into one. So I'm really excited for these yarns. I just want to hug them and squeeze them. And I know that if these don't sell online, just given the circumstances of our economy and everyone's uncertain position right now, I wouldn't even be upset if no one bought them, because I would just make my own inventory of sweaters from these yarns. These yarns were all spun by Green Mountain Spinnery. They're a worker-owned cooperative. I believe they're worker-owned, but yes, they are cooperative, and they mill yarns mostly, I think, all grown fiber grown in the U.S. and yeah, their method of spinning is kind of like a woolen prep, but a worsted spin, as far as I understand it. So I'm just really in love with the yarns that they make, because they remind me most of my hand spun, and I think that they're very complementary to a hand spun yarn. You can see how 2-ply, really easy to do on your own. You don't have to do 3 whole plies or learn a new method of plying. And yeah, I think that this would be really, because I have just 3 skeins of each color, except for this one where there's 4, I think that these yarns would be really nice base colors for a hand spun kind of yoke. I know Andrea Mowry is always coming out in patterns, but did come out with a new sweater that is, I think, a worsted weight yarn. These wouldn't maybe work with that, but I'm thinking of all of Jennifer Steingast's patterns that are published in a fingering weight, how gorgeous they would be with like a hand spun yoke and a natural shade, a very neutral, natural, low-key shade of solid. So anyway, that's something that I'm going to wait to post these for sale and see what sells before I cast on one of my own sweaters in my own hand-dyed yarn, because I'm going to be stuck with it. But any amount of money I can recoup from this investment would really help me out right now. So I'm just going to do it. I don't know what the outcome will be, but I'll let you all know. This is definitely not something that is sustainable for me. I probably won't do this again at any point. Except to, I don't know, I mean, maybe I'll do this next year, like in the spring after, you know, the winter, and I might have had time to dye stuff, but it's definitely not something I would do continually in the future. It's just a lot of work, and I haven't even done most of it. I haven't shipped it off to anyone, so I'm just kind of dreading that process a little bit, ready to kind of get it done before the world ends, I guess, but we'll see. It has been a while since I've last recorded a podcast episode, so I generally don't know where I left off in talking with you all about this yarn baby I have right here. This is my long-term project in the making. I would say she probably took 9 or 10 months to finally exist, but this is a finished fleece to skein project that I've made with a 3-ply yarn. It is 3 batches of fiber, wool fiber, Cormo wool fiber that I bought from I bought a fleece and I scoured it and I combed it and I dyed it. Actually, let me say that again. I flicked it, I scoured it, I dyed it, I combed it, I spun it, I plied it, and then I skeined it, and now it's in a skein. And this is enough to make a nice small sweater, not one that's too wide, not one that's too long, but I should have enough to make full sleeves and enough to cover my full midriff. I think, depending on the fit. So what I'm planning to knit so far is just a swatch to find out what am I going to get, what kind of fabric am I going to get on my favorite needle, which is generally a 5, to really learn about this yarn. And so far, all I can say is that it's one of the most consistent spins I've ever made, because it is 3 strands plied together. And it has this subtle heather look to it, this kind of, it's not quite variegated. At a distance it looks completely solid, but you can tell even in the skein there's some variation with the thickness of one ply or another here and there. So there's always going to be hair stuck to my things. I'm sorry about that. This is just really something I should be uber excited about, but I'm kind of waiting to cast this on because I just don't want to think about COVID-19 every time I wear this gorgeous sweater. I want to think of like happier times, maybe when my garden is really exploding and that has kind of taken over my constant everyday life. So yeah, I'm just kind of procrastinating on this project, to be honest with you. I might, I think probably because I'm just putting a lot of pressure on myself to do so many other things too. But there's something to be said about hand spun yarn. It is so sticky with lanolin, and it's soft, and it has a smell to it. It's not a sheep smell, but the lanolin is not lost. I mean, you really feel it, and it kind of is what holds the shape of the yarn. I don't know, it's just, I mean, there's nothing like it. You almost can't buy yarn like this. I mean, I'm sure it is not ideal for manufacturing to keep the lanolin on it, but boy, I do feel like the fibers are so fine though. If I have any dry skin or little hangnails, I have a hangnail that just developed, it's like destroys this fiber. So trying to, I don't know what I'm trying to do, but I'll be knitting this eventually. The time will come. So gorgeous. I wasn't sure about the color at first because when it's held up against warm shades, it's not really that appealing, that kind of green, but I really do love shades of green, and I think I've already learned to love this one. So I'm somehow moving into the pastel realm. I guess natural dyes will do that to you. I just cannot ignore this pretty girl. And even though I haven't worked a stitch on her since our last recording, and I think I said that before, I wanted to show her off to you because I need to fall back in love with this project again. Now is the perfect time. And it is one of the most gorgeous things already that I've ever made. So I'm pretty proud of it. I want to keep working on her and just kind of get out of this funk that I'm in with my knitting and crafting. Yeah, but she's still living in this basket here. I pulled out just the skeins that I'm using. From this point forward, it's just going to be 2 colors, so it's going to be a lot less, I want to say motivating to keep going row after row, but I think the pattern repeats themselves will be a big motivator. So this is on the needles still. While we're here together, I think I might just pull out all of my unfinished projects to show you briefly, to pressure myself to work on 1 or 2 of them at the very least. This is a finished sock that I've made months and months and months ago that I haven't woven the ends into, but I really like this sock a lot, and I should finish knitting the other one. They're kind of tight around the cuff to get over my heel, so that's kind of one of the reasons why I feel like I haven't been eager to finish this. And to be honest with you, I'm just really not a sock person at this point. At least I haven't been. I think socks might be a really nice thing to turn to at this time. So I'm going to pull this project out with the intention of finishing it soon. I also could repair this project bag handle that's loosening up. So we're right about the point where I would maybe split for the heel here. So I will probably zoom on this if I just take the time. Here I have one finished mitt, and I cast on just the beginning of the second one. This felt like torture, so I'm having a hard time wanting to finish it, but it'd be kind of nice to just be done and move on and not have it sit out anymore and actually just be a thing that lives in my life. but for what reason, I don't know yet. Looks like I have just 2 more in here. Another nearly finished project are these 2 socks. I was kind of knitting 2 at a time, and I really wanted to play with a new form of heel. So I was starting a heel flapping gusset, but I never got around to finishing it because I didn't prioritize socks. So I think that I have the gussets both knit for each, and I just need to look up the instructions and get this done. So again, another easy project if I just put my mind to it. These are knit with Utopia yarns, BFL, and boy, I think this might be one of my favorite sock yarns. I'll have to wear it and find out, but I really enjoyed knitting on a bigger gauge yarn. And last but not least is this project I'm dropping everywhere and off the needles, I'm sure. This is just a simple bralette. I'm knitting it on a size 16-inch cable, it looks like, or smaller, so you really can't see it, but it's just a couple inches so far of the body of a tank bra type thing. It looks like I did an interesting kind of band at the bottom that looks like a cable cast on with a row of garter before just continuing in stockinette. I think that if it's once it's washed and blocked or even just steam blocked, it won't really roll. And if it's stretched out over the body, it'll just kind of likely just extend flat. At least that's the plan. We'll see. But I'm gonna make this one, I'm gonna make this not into a tank, but just an actual bra because I have very little yarn. So after I knit maybe another inch or so to the body, I will split for the bust and then knit the, I like a 3-stitch, what's that thing called? That tube, you know that tube? I-cord? Oh, I really wish I had Elizabeth Zimmerman's knitting workshop on DVD at this time. I did borrow it from the library once. They didn't have a digital version of it back then, and I don't think, you might be able to buy it online digitally, but it might have cost more money, and I think I could get it for free at the time, so I did, but that would be a nice thing to kind of escape and absorb again. Anyway, I'm really glad I did that because I could very easily work on any one of these things. I would love to cast some things off before I start some new things. Like I mentioned, just not wanting to remember the birth of something new at this time. I just want to wrap stuff up. So anyway, thank you so much for being here for the Thread to Mend podcast. I'm gonna flip over and show you a garden update if you're interested in watching. I know some of you enjoy my gardening content. So I'll give you a brief tour of my garden. Sheep, do you want to come outside? Welcome to my garden. Ooh, there's gonna be some sounds. I planted some carrot seeds in this box here. I've actually not been that successful in growing in this container because the cats have used it as a bed on both sides of the sage. So by April of last year, this sage bush had come back. I don't know if this thing is finally dead or how sage works. I still don't know, but we'll see if those carrots come up. I have a ton of echinacea and black-eyed Susans coming up out of the ground. To be honest, I can't actually tell them apart. I think that these little dark ones, I think these are echinacea. Yeah, the leaves feel very different, a little bit more kind of sturdy. Look at the backs of those. They're very veiny. I think that's the echinacea. And then these, I believe, are black-eyed Susan. But you know what? They feel very much the same. And sometimes things just have different color, like a more purple color when they're exposed to the cold, it seems. So, not so sure. But they were growing in this area, so I expect they'll pop up. That's a yarrow plant right here. And this puts up really pretty flowers early in the spring too, before a lot of the other ones. I'm growing garlic this year again. I didn't plant as much. I was afraid. I heard about this fungus thing that's happening across the world, sort of, and how you want to be careful to plant it in different areas so that you're not propagating this detrimental fungi. So I don't know, I was just like, well, I don't have a lot of space. Anyway, I don't know, for some reason I didn't plant them out as big, mostly because I knew I really wanted to do a lot of stuff, and I think that I'm actually in a good spot this year. So you can kind of see around, I kind of cleared around the garlic to plant a small blueberry plant, which is starting to bud, and that's kind of exciting. And this variety, if I read the tag one moment, is Blueberry Misty. I just planted out a seedling I started indoors, calendula seedling. I planted them really deep so that they're nice and cozy in this leaf. This is all leaf mulch here. This is leaf mulch that's been breaking down since October. Let's see, can I get through it? Looks like I'm finally hitting some dirt under my fingernails now, and it's almost a whole finger deep. That is all leaf mulch, my friends. And that is how you get a nice mycorrhizal life web, right? Something like that, I don't really know. But yeah, you know, acid-loving plants, among other things. We'll see how that goes. Not so sure. I did amend the soil around it with an acidifier, a nice organic fertilizer, which I don't normally use fertilizer in my garden ever at all, just compost. And what else so I have 3 small calendula seedlings amongst the garlic here in this bed. I have expanded this bed the last few days to fit the full width of these new cattle panels, which we installed last week. And these were a lot of fun and easy to do. Highly, highly, highly recommend. If you can get a truck to deliver a 16-foot piece of grid, do it. This is where I grow lemon balm, and you can see there's an old lemon balm plant right there coming back. They come back every year. And my black-eyed Susans, they grow from seed. I've been moving them around. I have some some in some placeholder pots right now. I'm gonna move those out into the yard and other yards or friends' yards. And I'm probably gonna let the flowers fill these spaces between the grates, but I also want to be strategic with my flower placement so it almost looks intentional. Right now I'm just kind of growing an inventory of plants, it seems, but there's more lemon balm here. This is really crucial to our medicine cabinet at home. My dog gets into the cat food and then she'll get indigestion, and it's really good. She loves it. You know, when animals, they start chewing on grass, this is like the thing she goes nuts. This is where I'll probably plant a couple tomatoes. This spot here and the spot right there get the most sun for the most hours. So I'll probably grow tomatoes on the outside edge of this thing here, and then on the inside edge, cucumbers, stuff like that. Between them, garlic and onions. I have a few small onion plants I just put out. I've been growing them from seed the last couple years in the garden, kind of like starts. I don't know. It's just something I ignored, and I'm like, I'm gonna spread these out and see what works. I also have some random garlic plantings through here because I really didn't know what I would be doing this spring in this bed, but it would be my experimental bed because it does seem to get more sun than where I have perennials planted, which I can't necessarily plant right into. This area I really did clear out because I felt like there was more potential here. I used to have my compost bin just next to the forsythia bush, which is now relocated, so that's a big open space, and you can see that yellow tag there. I planted a couple a couple canes of black raspberries, so we'll get those in a couple years, but I did plant, you can see maybe from here, a few more calendula plants, so we'll get lots of flowers, I think, and lots of medicinal things to play with, little tinctures and salves and teas. That's St. John's wort there by the bird bath, and raspberries, blackberries. I'll probably do another raspberry leaf decoction. I think I'm running low on that in the fridge, but here is my new compost setup. You can see I didn't introduce you to my overwintered kale. This is just one of the few things I kept in the garden over winter to grow. And we might eat some of the smaller buds, but I'm definitely excited to save some seed and plant that seed out. Just be nice to have, I don't know, to kind of facilitate the life of things you keep alive. So compost setup is much better than it's ever been. You can see we have it covered now. This corner here. What temperature are we getting now? Just over 100, not quite 110. Just at ideal. So there's lots of action happening. This should be ready in a couple months at the very least. And this is our brand new compost we're starting. I dumped that late last night. I couldn't really see where things were, so I might add a little bit more brown stuff to balance that out. I want to thank you so much for watching the Thread to Mend podcast. It really means so much to me when you watch and engage on this channel. It's nice to be connected to someone out there that's interested in these sorts of things, and just share in the delight that they bring. You can find me on social media as Taylor E. Owen. I am mostly active on Ravelry and Instagram, so you can find me on either of those platforms, and I hope that you're all well. Please have a good day. Take care of yourself and those you love.